City apartments are rough. My first 2 places were both basements, because that's what you can afford these days, especially if you're looking to live alone. Third place, no lie, it had a window facing a brick wall, only 3 feet away. I was never looking for a spectacular view. I just wanted a decent window. Until last month, when I got one. I moved in at the beginning of winter to this super small but super decent apartment only a few minutes walk from the train station. The main living space extended from the kitchen, and a flimsy sliding door separated that from a small bedroom space. In the east wall of that bedroom space, a floor-to-ceiling window. Sure, it only overlooked the dirty street ahead, a small coffee place and a huge community housing building. But my God, the air, the sounds, the sunlight, it was perfect. And so shockingly affordable. I'll make a quick note here that I've never been much of a horror movie person. Just never caught my interest. So, when I couldn't find any issues with the building, it just seemed like it was a lucky break. Anyway, after settling my debt with my moving helpers, a 6-pack of beers and a large pizza, obviously, they were off on their way, and I began putting together my new home. I started with the Wi-Fi in the living space so I could work to some tunes. Then I unboxed some things for the kitchen. As I was sliding some plates into my cupboard, a knock came at my door. Shit, maybe my music was too loud. Standing on the other side of the door was a small woman wearing a hijab. I smiled apologetically. "Oh, sorry. Is the music too loud?" "No, it's fine. The walls here are good," she assured me. "I just wanted to say hello, welcome you to the building." "Oh." I hadn't expected such a warm reception. I had never been greeted by a neighbor in any of my previous apartments. "Thanks so much. I'm Lewis." She shook my hand. "Quibla, love to meet you." She peered into my apartment. "This looks good. Do you need some curtains?" "I can give you some. I have extra." Thanks, but I'll get around to it. I'm excited to get some sunlight coming through," I said with a laugh. But she did not laugh. "It's no problem. They're lovely curtains and you need your privacy," she said. I chuckled at this, feeling some tension in the air. "I'll make sure to get some curtains up soon. In the meantime, I'll hide all this." I gestured to my lackluster physique, under wraps. Again, no reaction from my neighbor. A moment later, she forced a small laugh, then nodded. "If you need anything, I'm right down the hall. 1710. She nodded once more, before turning away and retreating down the hall. I waved as I watched her go. Nice lady. Odd though. Which brings us to my first night. Darkness hit hard and fast, but there were a couple of yellowed streetlights bathing the street and parking lot outside. And the man who was yelling. It started just as I was laying down on my bed. A senseless hollering. Strings of profanity mixed with accusations at no one. But I'm not new to the city. I was near community housing, a place where folks with severe mental illness can very much end up. So, above all, I knew to be patient. Maybe this was why this place cost so little. It would have to be pretty extreme for that much of a price decrease though. And that thought set me on edge. After about an hour of the noise ebbing and flowing, I brought myself up and out of the bed and over to the window. I looked out over the cold street and watched the snow get caught up in gusts and brought to the man. He walked in jerky circles, flailing his limbs around from time to time. I put a hand on the glass, and at that moment, he spun around and faced me, as if he could hear that barest touch. He froze. No more noise, no more circles. He just stared back up at me. He couldn't have been staring at me. I was standing in my dark room, alone, 17 stories up. But from everything I could tell, he was standing in that parking lot, leaning at the slightest angle, head cocked, right up at me. This wasn't good. I took a step backwards, still watching him. The moment I moved, he broke into a dead sprint. He was running directly at me. My heart leapt. But I was inside. There were many locked doors between myself and him. It was fine. That did not stop me from running to my apartment door and triple checking it was indeed still locked. And then, watching my apartment door from my kitchen table. Then, watching the street from my window to see if I could see him again. Then, the kitchen. Then the window. It wasn't a great night. The next morning, as I opened my door, it pushed against something. I full-on panicked for a moment, but immediately I recognized it as a bundled-up window curtain with a note. For the nights, they aren't people. They are cold. Quibbler. This was unsettling for sure, but also, on a different level, incredibly insulting. Was she talking about the community housing folk? They were sick, not people. I let my indignant humanitarian side overpower my anxiousness over all this, and I tossed the curtain inside and continued on my way. I got a donut and some bad brew at the coffee shop. Found out they only operate from 9 to 5, which is not ideal for late night cravings, and I head off to work. The second night was much quieter. I didn't hear a sound above the passing night traffic as I lay down to sleep. This felt much more comforting. And then, it wasn't. It was too damn quiet. There were other people in this building. There was the community housing just across the street. So why was it so quiet? I stood up again, and I wandered to the window. Nothing of note out there. No folks wandering the streets. The only difference from the night before was one streetlight had started flickering. maybe I was getting in my head over all this. And then I saw the group on the balcony. 5 people stood on a balcony of the community housing building, about 5 stories higher than myself. I could not entirely tell if they were speaking or anything from this far. But one thing was for sure. Each of them stood facing out, facing me, staring at me. I whispered some curse under my breath and immediately turned to grab the curtain near my front door. I stomped through my house, hoping that the sound of my own movement would help me establish some kind of connection to reason. Clearly, I was imagining things. I was getting worked up over nothing. But if the curtain would help me feel better and get some sleep, easy as that. Let's get it up. I got back to my room just in time to see them jump. In unison, each of the 5 people on the balcony climbed over the railing and stepped off, still staring directly at me through my window the whole time. I dropped the curtain in terror and shouted a meaningless "Stop!" I scrambled to find my phone and I dialed emergency while I made a mad dash out of my apartment and into the elevator. Police and ambulance were on their way. As the elevator rang at ground floor, I ran out of my building and into the cold. And holy shit was it cold. The biting night stung at my skin all over, seeing as I'd run out there wearing only my PJs and slippers. I ran across the quiet road and past the shop to the building, dreading what I was about to see. And there they stood. That's all. There were the 5 figures that I had seen only moments ago, plummeting from over 20 stories. Stiffly, but casually looking at me with blank eyes. Nothing seemed to be wrong with them, physically. I saw no signs of injury. But behind those eyes, I couldn't tell what I was seeing. I walked closer to the building, scanning the area to see if I was wrong. If maybe it was a different group of people. But I only came back to them as sirens began blaring. They walked back inside. That's it. They just turned and walked back inside the building. My mind was a mess. I felt like I was going crazy as the police talked with me. But I held my composure and I assured them that my eyes must have just been playing tricks on me in the night. They left, the sounds of their engines retreating back into the city. I slammed my fist against Quibbler's door the next day. It opened only a few inches, revealing a chain lock and only her eyes. "What the hell is going on?" I asked. "You didn't put up the curtain?" she asked, as if that was some normal irritation. "How is a goddamn curtain going to stop people from jumping from fucking buildings?" I demanded. "They can see well in the dark. They've noticed you. They won't hurt you, but they'll want to be close," she said, as calmly as always. "What do these people want? They aren't people. and they want to be warm. I sputtered, wordless. How the hell do you even respond to that? Put the curtain up. It might not stop it anymore, but it will give you peace of mind, was all she said before closing her door again. And so I did. I put up the curtain and I started looking for another apartment. I didn't know what was going on, but I could stay here the 2 necessary months and head out without messing up my finances too bad. My last night there, the curtains were drawn shut and my lights were all off, leaving me in pitch darkness. But there was no way I was getting to sleep. The past 2 days were running through my head on an endless loop. What was happening in that building with those people? They were people, right? A quiet noise caught my attention. Barely a noise, really. Like the sound of a mouse squeaking in the wall. It would be nice to have a normal issue, like mice. The same sound, but slightly louder. I curled up in my bed. I didn't want to deal with anything tonight. But I also knew no sleep was coming if I didn't deal with whatever was causing that sound. I slumped out of my bed and I listened closely, tilting my head towards the wall. Silence. Maybe I should just attempt to sleep through it. A singular clicking noise, kind of like hail falling against the glass. There was a chance I was just hearing something from the outside, and I was fine. Or, on the other hand, far from fine. They won't hurt you. I shuffled towards the window, and they want to be warm. I pulled the curtain aside. Darkness. No streetlight. No snow. Nothing. Just the same darkness as my room. I furrowed my brow, absolutely lost. I hit the switch on my lamp. Naked bodies, stuck to the glass from the outside. Awfully contorted and piled bodies, all trying to touch as much of their flesh as possible to the glass dividing us. Their skin folded and flattened in still life before me, with patches of hair and scars and disease. The various faces clouded the window with their heavy breath. Tongues and teeth pressed hard almost like a suckerfish, plastered and frozen in ecstasy. No, not suckerfish, more like moths. I yelled and fell back, holding down the bile trying to shoot up. I huddled into a fetal position, rolled away from the sight before me, and then I can only describe it as I lost my mind. I don't remember much, not until dawn came, and I returned to my senses as light pierced through my unmarred window. I left that day. I went to a friend's place and stayed on their couch. My friends and a couple of cousins I have here in the city had to go and get my belongings. They all think I just had some kind of random psychological meltdown. It took me this long to get to the point where I'm even considering leaving this house and going back to work. I'm going to live with friends for a while. And if I do someday get a place of my own again, I am so fine with basements.